Ranger Training. Ranger, there's an immortal name, one that echoes down the halls of history from Bunker Hill to Normandy and the Poussin perimeter. Ranger, an exceptional, fearless, expert at arms, battle-wise and wary. Ranger, Indian fighter, scout, Texas horseman, special striking force, elite of the infantry. This is Ranger Training, and it's not easy. Night and day for 8 weeks, they push it to you. If you're a leader and you've got the guts, you become a Ranger, one of the most respected fighting men on earth. This training takes place at the Ranger Department of the famous Infantry Fort Benning, Georgia. It is here that Rangers are made. The training is actually an extension of regular infantry training. The idea is to make Ranger students masters of small unit tactics and at the same time develop in them the highest standards of leadership. Enlisted men and officers come from all units of the Army to take this course. They must meet strict physical and mental requirements. And as one of the tactical officers put it when addressing a new class,
now it takes a good soldier. It takes a man with stamina, moral courage, and intestinal fortitude to complete this particular course. We know that you men are volunteers. Your company commanders have had faith in you. Don't let them down.
The Ranger Department believes in the buddy system, and in view of the rugged training they know will be coming their way, the students believe in it too. They really buddy up fast around here. It's good to have someone alongside that you can depend on, and at the same time, it makes a man feel a little bigger to know that someone's depending on him too. It's a two-way proposition that makes for better training and better soldiers. The training is broken down into 3 phases. The first phase, here at Fort Benning, is primarily a review of the basic military skills necessary to complete the other 2 phases: jungle training in the swamps of Florida and mountain training in the Great Smokies of North Georgia. During these last 2 phases, the patrol is the teaching vehicle. Day and night patrolling demands endurance, and cross-country running builds that kind of endurance you need. The bayonet classes strengthen bodies and encourage esprit, as well as teach the technique of the long knife. Teaching, that's the emphasis here at Fort Benning. Teach the men what to do. They will have plenty of opportunity to apply what they have learned when they start leading their own patrols through the swamps of West Florida and over the mountains of North Georgia. Learning how to use demolitions is important to a Ranger. You must become familiar with all types and still maintain a healthy respect for the danger involved. Knowledge and care are the 2 prerequisites to success in handling such high-powered stuff. Training the mind and training the body. You may often have to lead a small unit behind enemy lines. Proficiency in the precise art of hand-to-hand combat is a must.
All right, Staff 2 men will take up the overhead drill. I really want to hear you sound off, make plenty of noise and chatter. All right? Here's 1, 2, and 3. Ho! Here comes! Hey guys! And you're ready to go down that over shoulder throw on my command. Here's 1, 2, and 3 on the over shoulder throw. Ho! Follow through in that forward position now.
The high point of the Fort Benning phase of instruction is the class in river crossing expedients. Here is where you learn to get on the other side and still keep your powder dry. This is one of the reasons why the Ranger Department is a big promoter of the buddy system. 2 men working together are an efficient team that learns faster and gets things done right. You use everything but your shorts to make this raft. And if made right, everything but your shorts stays dry. Everything but your shorts, and you, that is. You're not going along for the ride on this crossing. You are going to be the motive power. The life preserver is a safety measure. Even with it along, you will have trouble enough. The Chattahoochee runs fast and deep. The best swimmers find it a difficult river to cross. They call this a class, but the only resemblance to a classroom is the fact that men are learning. And this learning goes on winter and summer, come rain or snow. It may look like fun right now, but some will be making this same crossing in December, when the river runs cold and swift with mountain snow. It's in situations like this that the buddy system really pays big dividends. You'd feel pretty miserable out there all alone with the current sweeping you downstream faster than you can swim against it. But with a pal along, you talk it up, feel better, and both of you keep plugging for that shore. And then pretty soon you're there. Wet and cold, but you've made it. And after all, you've got a whole raft of dry clothes and equipment. You're in good shape. And so, the Fort Benning phase of instruction is over. This has been merely preparation for the tougher training that lies ahead in the swamps of Florida. The Florida camp is located on the western edge of Eglin Air Force Base, 35 miles from civilization. It is here that you will get your first taste of day and night patrolling. The camp commander, in his welcoming address, left no doubts as to the difficulties to be expected.
We believe that a prerequisite to successfully completing the course is to be able to operate in a sound tactical manner after you've been put under extreme physical strain. To be able to have your mind work when your body is tired. As far as we're concerned, an infantryman is limited by only one thing: what he's got in his guts and what he's got in his head. We think that before you're through here, you'll find that you can push yourself and force yourself to go a great deal further than you've ever gone before, or that you thought it was possible for you to go.
Now it's double time over to an outdoor class on survival. Here's where you learn to live off the land. A palmetto can be a source of nourishment if you know what to do. The heart is what you're after, and you have to work through an awful lot of palm before you get there. Not much left, but the instructor passes it around so a few can sample it. Tough and not too tasty, but it can keep you going, and that's what's important. Survival also means knowing the ways of wildlife, too. If you're no vegetarian, and if you're quick enough, you can get some of the small game that abounds in the area. Not that you will have any time for a hunting party, but you will be running patrol problems here, both day and night. 1 square mile of this scrub oak and cypress swamp looks just about like 1,000 others. It's easy to get lost, especially when the moon is down, and the jungle is so close you can feel it. Then, knowing how to turn Brer Rabbit into a nice Hassenpfeffer might be a pretty handy thing. Yes, you learn a lot here at the Ranger Department. Pin him to the spit, hang him over a small fire on a couple of forked sticks, and in a few minutes you've got a delicious roast. But there is other wildlife around too. This big diamondback can put you out of commission for keeps. Learn to recognize him well. On the other hand, if you play your cards right, well, rattlesnake meat is a gourmet's delight and costs a pretty penny. You're in luck. This one's for free. There are lots of snakes around here, but the majority are harmless. To prove the point, every student handles one. Ranger, you don't seem happy with the situation. But then, neither does your little friend. Speaking of little friends, here's another one you might meet any day or night for that matter. He's really just a baby, so much mouth and all so hungry looking. You can take what pleasure you may from the cold fact that no Ranger students have been lost down alligator gullets, yet. You are learning about the swamps and what to expect from them. You are destined to become familiar with them on a much more personal basis. You watch as one of the instructors demonstrates the rope drop confidence test. The confidence tests, a prerequisite to graduation, are well named. The problems involved are not really hard at all. You would think nothing of walking a plank if it were on the ground. But 30 feet in the air, with swamp water underneath, it is somehow different. The purpose of this test is to prove to each man that the difference is only in his mental attitude. If he can do it on the ground, he can do it here. And he does it. And he learns that he can do more than he thought he could. He becomes more confident of his own ability. The bulk of the time here is spent in patrol activity. Every patrol is organized and carried through by students. With every patrol, there is an observer. During the problem, he gives no advice, corrects no errors, he merely observes. As soon as the patrol is over, he holds his critique. This is where mistakes are brought to light and learning accomplished. Here, a Ranger combat patrol moving through the swamps by day clashes with some aggressors. Hand grenade simulators and blank ammunition recreate the fury of a firefight. The Florida phase is done. A bus ride back to Fort Benning, a day to clean up and rest a bit, and then up to the mountain training camp in North Georgia. Situated about 20 miles from the famous old gold mining town of Dahlonega, the camp is in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains. Here, you become familiar with another, perhaps tougher type of terrain. As in Florida, the emphasis is on student leadership in a combat situation, with the patrol as the teaching vehicle. Day and night, every day and every night, you will be out there on patrol. Pretty looking country now, but try leading a group of men across it some dark night with aggressors harassing you at every opportunity. You will all get the chance to lead, to make mistakes, and to learn. But first you must know the technique of traveling in the mountains. Here, man's best friend is his rope, and you will learn to make good use of it. This is a 3-rope bridge for getting across a narrow ravine. This may be okay for some situations, but if you've got to get over fast, there's another way, the horizontal traverse. It's SOP for moving men and material down over rough terrain the easy way. Next comes a class in rappelling. An instructor demonstrates the correct technique. Rappelling is the mountaineer's method of descending a cliff. It is dangerous only if you don't know what you are doing. The instructors make sure every student knows well what he is about. Goober, the camp mascot, just watches. But you go over and down the cliff. You may have to use this technique someday. Despite the toughness of the training, the Ranger Department has never had a fatal accident, and few serious ones. Thorough preparation eliminates them before they can occur. It's a long way down the first time, and it's kind of good to get solid ground underfoot once again. The mountain camp has its own brand of confidence test, casually called the death slide. It takes guts to pull yourself 100 feet up this swaying rope ladder. It takes guts to snap a pulley block onto a steel cable and let yourself go. It takes a lot of guts, but there isn't a man who has done it once who wouldn't do it over again just for kicks. Thrill of a lifetime, he will tell you. You have been on many patrols in the mountains. Now you are ready for the last and most difficult one of all. You have been given the situation, and each of you has written a warning order and a patrol order. Now one of you takes command.
Every man will carry his rifle except Ranger Juarez. He will carry his light machine gun. Ranger Sanders will be his ammo barrel, and every man will have his hands and face thoroughly blackened. and anything that will rattle or make noise will be securely tied down, because we're traveling at night. They've got 50 miles from this point to the objective. Now this is 50 miles we've got to go, and it's pretty rough territory.
It will take 2 days and 3 nights to accomplish the mission, the destruction of the Blue Ridge power plant 50 miles away. While you are being briefed, aggressors are drawing weapons and blank ammunition. They will seek every opportunity to discover your patrol and keep you from getting to the objective. This patrol problem will be as realistic as training will allow. Later, you blacken your faces. If you happen to be the patrol leader, you make sure it's done right and that everybody is ready for moving at night. Goober can't go along, but he gets the treatment anyhow. Then the patrol draws the equipment that you have specified they should carry. If you have forgotten anything, the patrol will have to do without. The observer makes no corrections. You will run this patrol problem from start to finish.
Sanders, rifle, machine gun ammo. There you go, John. Greenberg, demolitions and rifle.
That night, under cover of darkness, the patrol moves out. You pass through a friendly outpost and reach Valley Divide Road. This is the battle line. Somewhere on the other side waits the aggressor. Scouts move out first to reconnoiter. All clear. The main body crosses in a rush, and the patrol starts working up the hill on the other side. Then, aggressor outpost.
That's it! That's it!
The object of the patrol at this point is to avoid contact. A firefight now could ruin the mission. So you swing around past the outpost. In order to avoid further contact with aggressor forces, you have purposely chosen a difficult route, and this planning pays off. Once across Rock Creek Dam, you will be behind the aggressor main force for sure. But it's a long way, and you've got to keep moving. The mountains make for rugged going, especially at night. The area is full of fast water. It's cold and tricky underfoot, but you keep pushing. Daylight gives you a chance to rest and stash away the few cans of sea rations you brought along. And although some can rest, there must always be others out on security details to make sure that the patrol is not surprised by aggressor forces. Right now, you are very vulnerable. The next night finds the patrol on the move once more. The observer has selected a new leader. You have reached the Toccoa River, and the point is searching for an easy crossing. He spots Swan Bridge. Then he moves up for a closer look. It is guarded by an aggressor sentry, so he waves up the patrol leader. The patrol leader decides that there may be other aggressors in the area. There's nothing for you to do but move back downstream and make a wet crossing. 2 men have gone ahead to secure the other side. Now the main body moves across. Once across, you reorganize and push on. Towards dawn, you reach the shore of Lake Tocoa. A quick glimpse at the map tells the patrol leader that he is just about where he should be. Down the lake a few miles is their objective, the Blue Ridge Power Plant. But soon it will be light, so you will camp here on a finger of land. Security has been set up and the patrol can rest. You are dead beat and without food. You were supposed to rendezvous with a friendly partisan to obtain added rations, but somehow you missed him. Perhaps he was never there. The next night, there is a new patrol leader. As soon as it is dark, you move out toward the objective. You work your way forward, then suddenly, there it is. The patrol leader orders the security group to set up their machine gun. They will cover the advance of the assault group. Then he leads the assault group up with care. Everybody's tired, bone tired, and hungry enough too. But you are pretty well out in the open now, and you have been through too much to get careless, so close to success. Everyone knows exactly what to do. Each has a job that was specified back at the base camp when you received the patrol order. In the assault group, there will be a two-man demolition team. One of you will dispose of the aggressor sentry. The rest of the men will act as security. As you get closer, two men drop off to either side to act as local security. Then the rest of you make the final rush to the wall. A dummy charge is set inside the installation. Then you take off, picking up the security on the way. As you move out of the area, a real charge goes off outside the plant just for effect. Back at camp, it's coffee and sandwiches, while the observer holds a critique.
First off, we had a good patrol. We had a pretty good patrol order. We had a pretty good route. We moved out through our own lines. We hit the objective. 3 days later, we got back. Ranger Brayman, Ranger Holloway, Ranger Ricketts, 3 patrol leaders did a good job. One thing I was wondering, Ranger Brayman, in your patrol order, you only got 1 machine gun. After all, we're moving pretty far behind enemy lines, hitting an objective that's pretty important and well guarded.
Being it was so far, I figured it'd be better to travel light.
Well, it's good reasoning. The only thing is, you can carry a BAR or a submachine gun. You'd have your extra firepower. You'd still be pretty light going.
Everybody's dead tired, but this is where learning is accomplished, and the whole patrol is eager to find out how you did. After the critique, there is only one thing left: Graduation back at Fort Benning. Your training here is done. Instead of concentrating you in separate units as in the past, the concept now is to send you back as key men to your parent unit. The goal is to have a Ranger non-commissioned officer in every infantry platoon and a Ranger officer in every infantry company. Goober watches and is proud. When you return to your unit, it will be your mission to spread Ranger know-how and Ranger spirit to those around you until the entire unit is a better fighting team, stronger and more wise. That unit will owe a lot to you who had the guts to go through the toughest course in the Army and win the patch that dubs you Ranger.